slight increase in speed here. There's the split caused by the fall at the back. Two pelotons coming together. Yeah, that's the second half of the peloton because all the cars are here.
Hi there, it's Melanie from Yarn Journeys, and today is my Stage 15 vlog for the Tour de Fleece. So I can report that spinning is going very well. I have definitely gotten to a groove of drafting somewhat consistently, falling right into the amount of twist I want, and so on. And so the spinning is starting to actually feel like it's speeding up a bit. And I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bobbins. Yay! And the 7th is on the wheel. So it is not impossible that I may have the whole sweater spin finished by the end of the Tour de Fleece, but I probably will get pretty close. So today's Tour de France ended in Carcassonne, which is that famous walled medieval town that often shows up on postcards. I was lucky enough to visit in 2016. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go inside the castle because it was closed, but I do have some nice pictures from outside. Now, Carcassonne in the Tour de France is often famous for its heavy winds that break up the racing, but that did not happen today. What did happen today is that the yellow jersey had a crash in the town of Ravel. And I was lucky enough to visit Ravel in 2016 also. Now, Ravel is famous for its beautiful medieval market structure, which is still in great shape and has been used to host the town's farmers market on a weekly basis for centuries and centuries. And it is in Ravel that I first learned about this area's importance to the textile industry. This area of Tarn was a center of woad production. And woad is a plant that can be used to produce a blue dye. In fact, woad was the major source of blue dye in Europe until the Portuguese began importing indigo from India in the 16th century. So I first learned about this in Ravel because in the porticos surrounding the market square, they had all sorts of shops that sold clothing and fabric that was dyed with what they call pastel, which is the blue dye produced from the woad plant. For centuries and centuries, this area gained wealth from the production of the woad dye and its export to other areas of Europe. And that is how the town of Toulouse, which is just northwest of this area, grew. This area is also important to the textile industry in another regard because up until the 20th century, it was a major center of wool processing in France, if not for Europe. Wool processing was a major activity in the town of Mazamet, which is about a 20 to 30 minute drive away from the town of Ravel. In fact, the Tour de France went through Mazamet the summer of 2018. So Mazamet had wool imported there from all over the world in large quantities, particularly from Australia. And there it was processed into yarn and fabric that then went out from Mazamet to all over France and Europe. Now, I found out about this because I am lucky enough to have family that lives in Mazamet, and the summer of 2018, my husband and I celebrated our marriage there. So, someday in the future, there will be a Yarn Journeys episode, I'm sure, that focuses on Mazamet and Tarn, and will tell you much more about the history of wool and textiles in that area. So that's the end of my vlog today. Please do like this episode if you find this kind of content interesting, and do subscribe so that you don't miss another episode of Yarn Journeys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon.
Keep Laporte near Jonas Vingegaard and let Wout go for the stage win. Couldn't quite deliver. Was second, but you can forget about